Hey everybody, this is Mark Dannenberg with Options Moneymaker. This is the Q&A session for Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. Kristen Kane is with me tonight. Hey, Kristen.
Hello, Mark.
How are you?
Good.
All right, folks, most of you have been to a Q&A before. If you've not and you've got questions, please feel free to ask. But we're going to jump right into the any questions that you may have. And I've had several questions, there are a couple right now, about the Aurora system that we've been working on developing. So I'm going to talk about Aurora. If you got questions outside of that, please let me know. But Thomas is asking, are we still on track for possibly releasing Aurora in January? And the good news is we are almost certain tentatively, how's that sound, Kristen? Certain tentatively, that we're going to be releasing the new Aurora system in the first 2 weeks of January. And the reason this is exciting is because of what Kristen and I have been doing with the system, testing, validating, live trading the system, going back, tweaking it, revisiting some prior performance and adjusting that prior performance just to make sure that we bring to you the best possible experience in terms of trading. So Thomas is asking, and I'm saying yes. So the plan is that we're going to release in the first 2 weeks of January, and I'm going to follow that right up with Paul's question, who is saying, you know, what's the plan? When can we sign up? How are we going to do this? All right. So I appreciate you asking that. It's almost like I planted the question there, or Kristen did. So here's the plan as of right now. We have been doing a tremendous amount of testing, and in the last Q&A 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that we had identified a pattern adjustment. So it's a tweak to the way we interpreted the signals. And what we did was we went back and we looked at our prior performance, and we made adjustments for that tweak. It was very, very easy to do, very, very easy for us to go back and look at. Not a lot of intricate interpretation. It was very easy to make that adjustment. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about what we're seeing in terms of results. But back to Paul's question, what we are going to be doing, the plan right now is that sometime in the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to send you an announcement and give you an opportunity to sign up for the live trading room for the first 2 weeks of January. Anybody and everybody can join us in the live trading room for the first 2 weeks of January. And what we are planning on doing is trading the Aurora system live, we being Kristen and me. We're going to be trading the Aurora system live in the live trading room. And you're going to see how it works. You're going to see how it performs. Now, we're not doing training prior to that. So you're not going to understand necessarily all of the details. We're not going to be investing our time just yet in the live trading room doing all the detailed training. What we want to do is to give you an idea of what you could possibly produce. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to see it work live. So if Kristen and I are trading, and we tell you, hey, we're done for the day, we're up 100 points, you'll have an idea of how we got there. And you might not completely understand how we interpreted each of the signals. You might not understand completely how we decided when to get in, when to get out. But what we plan on doing is to show you the performance of the system for a 2-week period. You can join for as little or as much of that 2-week period as you choose. And then at the end of 2 weeks, we're going to give you an opportunity to make this system your own, sign up for a monthly subscription for the system. And what I'm sincerely hoping that you will experience if you choose to participate in this is go through the trial, go through the, see before you commit. And actually, if you follow along with our trades, be able to earn whatever we're earning, and be able to actually fund the subscription to the Aurora system. So that's the plan right now. That's what we're discussing. That's what Kristen and Aaron and I are discussing. By the way, Aaron is back as of this week, and she's working on some very important stuff for me in support of releasing the Aurora system in January. We are pretty darn
Yay.
excited about it.
About Aaron being back.
Well, you know what, Kristen, I'm always excited about you being here, but I think this week, Aaron coming back trumps how excited I am every day about you being here.
I feel the same way.
Um, so following up to that, Bob has a question. Does Aurora work during after hours trading, especially if markets are slow moving? We trade Aurora. All of our trading experience, Bob, is with Aurora between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now, primarily we track the performance from 7 a.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern, but I frequently monitor the trading activity overnight. We do not track the detail level that we do from 7 to 2. So just like with AES, we record every single trade. And when I say we, I take credit for recording those because Kristen's just waiting for me to plug them in.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
What, Kristen?
Oh.
So yeah, Kristen does all the heavy lifting. So I just call her and tell her what to plug in. We record 7 to 2. So we don't have data that I could come back to you and say, hey, here's what the average win-loss is, here's what the average performance is in hours outside of that. But in reviewing the data and just kind of watching the trades, I can pull them up on my iPhone. I can pull up the charts and I can see where it's at and I can see how much it's moved and I know what our profit targets are on each particular entry and I know whether or not it's doing that. And so what I see is some strong opportunities. There's some really great opportunities starting at 3 a.m. I don't know that anybody wants to be trading at 3 a.m., but one of the reasons that I'm paying attention to that and that we will in the very near future start tracking that. Don't worry, Kristen, I'm not going to ask you to work all night. But one of the reasons we're going to track that is because the next phase in terms of my personal view of developing a whole toolkit for traders is to finalize CycleBot and to be able to assign CycleBot, which is an automated trading tool you've heard me talk about, to trade the Aurora system overnight. And well, actually at any time throughout the day. So that's the next phase. We're not quite there yet, but we're going to focus first of all on getting the Aurora system out in front of you, getting you comfortable with it, seeing how it can produce and perform, and then giving you an opportunity to have it at your disposal and trade whenever you choose to trade. But the very first thing we needed to do is make sure that our signals and our alerts were solid and that our alerts correspond to the way we want to trade the system. And then we will align CycleBot to take those same alerts that we use within TradingView. All right, Kevin's asking two questions. The win percent for Aurora, what changes will be made to the live trading room in January? Well, I just mentioned that the first 2 weeks of January, we're going to be inviting anybody and everybody. You don't need any kind of a subscription to be in the live trading the first 2 weeks of January, but the first 2 weeks of January, we're going to focus entirely on Aurora. Now, the AES signals, if you're following AES signals, and maybe you would tell me you have no interest in Aurora, AES signals are embedded inside of Aurora, meaning the 5-minute chart exists here. AES signals exist on the 5-minute chart, so you can still follow along with those if you choose to. And then following that 2-week preview, you'll have an opportunity to sign up for Aurora, and there will be then formalized training that will consist of a combination of formal training webinars. We usually try to restrict the training to an hour. It's a good time frame, a good amount of time for people to be able to absorb the training that we're providing to them. And there will be more than one session. I'm not sure yet how many sessions it'll be, probably 3. And then the day after the training session in the live training, we will be supporting what we taught in that formalized training session. And then after that, we will have a live trading room available with the Aurora charts open. You need an Aurora subscription to be in the live trading room, but it will be available to answer questions and to be able to guide you through really fully immersing yourself into the Aurora trades and making sure that you're comfortable with earning your own level of profit, similar to what we've been experiencing, and we're really enjoying what we are experiencing. And David is asking, will you be recording these live trading sessions? We're not going to record the live trading room sessions. No, they're going to be sessions that are there for people to come and join us to follow along. They will not be recorded. And I am not committing to any particular length of time. We probably will open the room to everybody to join us sometime around 8 a.m. Eastern. Krista and I are trading starting at 7 a.m. We'll probably open the room sometime around 8 a.m. Eastern. And then we will close the room when we feel like we have hit a profit target that is reasonably close to what we're looking for. And you'll have a good understanding of what the system has been producing. And our mission during that first 2 weeks is not to be in the live trading room all day long trading. We have days, Krista and I, where we'll say, listen, we're going to stop trading and it's 10:30 in the morning because we are at a more than reasonable profit production. So our trading is going to be in a live account, and Kristen's going to be actually driving that. And together, we're going to be talking about the trades. We're not going to be teaching all of the details. That's a very, very important component here, because I know some people will be asking me specifically, well, what is it that you chose to do there? We're giving you an overview. This is like a opportunity to kind of see how the system flows. And we will be calling out some of the trades. We're not necessarily committing to calling out the details of every single trade, but we'll be advising you as to how the system has produced profits. There will be losses. There will be losing trades. We might have losing days. We've had minimal losing days so far since we revised the rule set and the qualification set to take a signal. We've had actually 3 losing days out of 43 trading days that we went back and reassessed since I advised you 2 weeks ago that we had identified a small adjustment. But, we need to accept the fact that trading has losses, trading has individual trade losses, and trading has days that you lose. So what we're going to do is we're not going to just give you an example on a single day where that day could be, hey, the best day we've ever had, which I think would be a little misleading, or it could be, one of our bigger losing days, which would also be misleading. So we're going to give you a sampling of what could be accomplished over a 2-week period. And we're going to be talking about what the system averages are on winning day averages, and we're going to talk about losing day averages. And I think it's pretty exciting that we're just going to put it out there. There's no commitment for you other than some of your time. Come to the live trading room. Listen in as Kristen and I just pretty much chat about the market throughout the day. We'll talk about, hey, we got a signal coming up. We got a short signal. We need to wait for this particular time frame to confirm, but then we're going to go ahead and take that trade. You can follow along the trades with us if you choose to. And more importantly, it's not necessarily about you taking the trades with us. It's you getting a sense for, I see how this works. I see how profitable it has been, excuse me, and how profitable it could potentially be. And then you can make a decision about whether or not it's something you want to incorporate into your tool set. All right, Kevin, I think you asked that same question twice, so we've already responded to that. We're going to be trading live. We are trading Aurora live now. So we'll be trading live in those first 2 weeks. We'll be talking about all that when we get to it, Kevin. Kevin's asking, what's the stop loss target to stop trading on any one day? Well, first of all, you should stop trading whenever you feel comfortable that you've met a maximum limit. I'll just share with you if I can switch gears here. So here is, you want to look at this column right here. From 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're looking at, when we say all, it's inclusive of the multi-parts of the Aurora system. We're going to end up, when you subscribe to Aurora, we're going to take you through the training, as I mentioned, and we're going to teach you the details of each part of the system. And there are parts of the system that can be traded at the same time, meaning there are no overlaps, there are no duplicates, there are no conflicts. And then there are other parts of the system that we want to help you understand where there may be conflicts between that signal within the system versus other parts of the system. So we're going to teach you all that. But when I say all here, so this is a category that Kristen and I have created to capture what we call single trader status, where you can trade more than a single part of the Aurora system. And it's usually presented to you in terms of a sequence of trades. So you might be in and out of this particular trade, and then, a few minutes later, you might have another trade of a different entry style that will get you into another trade. That all category. So I'm gonna rewind a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, the all category 2 weeks ago was averaging about $1,400 a day, which is, in my opinion, huge, and gives a lot of opportunity to traders. So was averaging just over 70 points a day in total. That's taking into account winning trades and losing trades. When we identified, and I'm going to give 100% credit to Kristen, I needed to be away for a few days, and she was really puzzling through a couple of things that she had noticed, and they really ended up being fairly minor tweaks within the Aurora system that resulted in a fairly significant result. And you would think on the surface, well, that probably doesn't matter too much, but thanks to Aaron, who created this tracking tool, and our ability to go back and make adjustments within the tracking tool to compensate for that one minor tweak, we went from an average of about $1,400 a day to an average of $2,600 a day. Now, this is per contract. So this is per contract. One contract on each trade, and you can see how many trades we have. Today we had 36 trades in total, and we did $1,980 per contract. The biggest drawdown that we had today was $440, which is, what is that, 22 points. So in my opinion, and you'll perhaps have different opinions than me, that's not a huge drawdown. That's a very, very manageable drawdown. So what that means is that before we got to a state of overall profitability, we started down. We had some down. We had some drawdowns. Now, our greatest drawdown to date so far. So back to the question about when do we stop if we're having a losing day? Our greatest drawdown so far is $1,585. That might seem like a lot to you, but that's just over 75 points. That's just over 75 points. So when you're trading a system that's providing over 130 points on an average day, 75 points doesn't seem huge to me. But knowing that that's our biggest drawdown, each of you as traders, can make decisions about where's your stopping point. So, if all of a sudden you get to 80 or 85 points or 90 points of a drawdown, if normally you could handle that and you're okay absorbing that, well, that the biggest drawdown day we've had to date is about 77 points. So if you exceeded that, maybe that's where you want to stop. We'll be talking more about that as we get into the first couple of weeks.
So Mark,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Drew has a great question looking at the tracker that you have here, PB13 results. He sees has the best per trade profit, fairly low trade amounts. He's asking, are you able to get just those alerts and only trade just those signals when you have the Aurora system?
Well, so the simple answer is yes, absolutely. PB13 is something that you could choose to just trade and ignore everything else. You're going to find that when we present the system to you and when you sign up for the subscription and we put you through the training, that there are different views we have of different parts of the system, like PBA3 versus PB13. We've got trending entries and a whole set of rules that we're going to follow. And we won't necessarily teach you all of the details of it in the live trading room. You'll observe some of it, but we have a whole set of rules that we're going to teach you how to follow to stay in a trend, to continue to lock in profits and stay with the trend, versus some entries, which Kristen nicknamed catch entries, where we're simply looking for 10 points of profit. We've got entries where we're looking for 20 points of profit. And then we've got our usual, which if you're trading AES, you're used to trading fractals. You can throw those in. By the way, this all category does not include fractals. So if you're someone who's used to trading fractals, the fractals that we've been tracking it's a different time frame chart that we're tracking fractals on than we do with AES, but it's another $660 a day on an average. So there's just a tremendous, I am so excited about this because there's just a tremendous amount of opportunity within Aurora. We're going to teach you the system in the formalized training. And then, as Drew was talking about, you can decide, well, maybe I only want to trade PB13, or maybe I only want to trade PBA3s. And then maybe I'll throw in some fractals, to augment that. But, the opportunity is huge. And I just, I want to point out a few numbers here. Today we did $1,980. To be frank, Kristen and I said, yeah, okay, it was an okay day, but that's almost 100 points, folks. $2,000 is 100 points per contract. Yesterday it was $4,100. That's per contract. Last Friday, hey, by the way, I told Kristen take Friday off because you know what? The Friday after Thanksgiving is hardly ever productive. It was a $6,000 day. That's a $6,000 day per contract. So if you like trading multiple contracts, you want to put 5 contracts on that, that's a $30,000 day. And we keep track of weekly totals too. We're looking at 13,000, 14,000, 6,700, 11,000. We're 3 days into this week, $7,400. These are weekly totals. So that's per contract. And if you, decide, well, I'm comfortable trading 2 contracts or trading 3 contracts, that's a big deal, in my opinion. So Drew is saying, as someone who can't trade before 9:30 with getting kids to school, can you show what the results are normal market hours, specifically PB13 signals? Well, first of all, I'd tell your kids to take an Uber. Don't you do that, Kristen?
That's terrible.
No. Drew, I'm just joking about that. But yes, the format of this spreadsheet allows us to track different time frames. So 7 to 2 is averaging 131 points a day. There have been 3 losing days out of the 43 days that we formalized track. Now we've got about 6 months prior to that of all different levels of data, which is all strongly positive, but it wasn't until about 43 trading days ago that we said, okay, we're at a point now where we're going to formalize the tracking and just move forward to validate our rule set, to confirm that where we have arrived is the right place for us to be. And that's a very strong number. So 3 losing days in total on the Aurora system out of 43 trading days, not calendar days, but 43 trading days. The average daily profit, so the average winning day is $2,863. The average losing day is $376. Now there's going to be drawdowns that are bigger than that. You know, I showed you a 75, 77 point drawdown. There's going to be drawdowns that might be bigger than that before you arrive to the end of the day where you finally end up losing. But the losses are reasonably minimal. So to answer your question a little further, Drew, let's say you decide you wanted to start at 9:30 and go to 2. In the 9:30 to 2 category, given what we have experienced, given what we have traded, I just set the parameters starting at 9:30. Your first trade is not before 9:30, and your last trade would be at or before 2 o'clock. It's an average of 98 points, just over 98 points, and you still have only 3 losing days out of 43 days, and the average daily profit is just under $2,200 a day. Now, your average daily loss on those 3 days is $981. So there's some bigger losses on those 3 days during that period of time. But, you know, that's data that we're going to help you understand so that you can make a reasonable decision about how you want to trade. Michael's asking about 9:30 to 11. 9:30 to 11 is just over 60 points. You've got 7 losing days, 9:30 to 11 out of the 43 days. Your average daily profit on your winning days is $1,570, and your average losing day on those 7 days is $653. So I'm going to put this back to 7 to 2 before I forget. So, you know, this is a Q&A, folks. So please feel free to ask questions about anything you want. But we're very, very excited about the work that we've been doing, which started actually in August of last year. The whole concept of Aurora was starting to come together. Kristen joined our team in March of this year, and I had her immerse herself in really learning and understanding Aurora. And she's brought a lot to the table in terms of analyzing different approaches. Aurora system is a system. So it's not a system where you just blindly take every single signal. Okay, you can, but I think that there are some really smart ways for you to filter out some signals, and we're going to show you how to do that. And then you can pick and choose, you know, what signals you want to trade. You want to trade PB13, you want to trade PBAO, you want to trade PBA3, you want to include fractals in that. Whatever you want to do, we're going to always encourage you to align your decisions with your own personal trading plan. So personal trading plan is a tool that we make available to you. And if you align your goals for the trading day with a personal trading plan, there's really no reason you should not be able to succeed doing this.
Mark, can you go back to the averages and look at 7 a.m. to 9:30 for Kevin?
33.5 points. Michael's asking, is the Aurora entry still on bar open only? In general, yes, but I will just tell you there are going to be a lot of questions from people about Aurora. We are not. So what we are going to do in the first 2 weeks of January is we're going to trade live. Chris and I will be talking about, you know, this signal versus that signal. Okay, we got into that. We took 10 points. This one, we locked in 30 points, or, you know, we're using one of our exit strategies to take ourselves out of the trade. Our intention is to not teach all of the details of the system now or in the first 2 weeks of January. If it is a system that you like the way it looks and feels, you like what you're seeing, you see that, you know, we're knocking it out of the park in terms of profits, then when you sign up, we're going to make sure that we give you a very thorough education and give you all the details. So there'll be questions, understandably, and there's some questions that will say, you know, we'll get to that in training. We're here to just kind of give you a demo of it. And I think personally, a 2-week demo is a huge, huge demo. It's not like I'm inviting you for 1 or 2 days. And so, you know, I hope it kind of works out. And, you know, at the end of 2 weeks, it should be pretty clear to you whether or not it's something that you want to incorporate into your own personal trading style. More for us to talk about in training, Kevin. Kevin's just asking, in the fractal category, you're not taking all of the opportunities. We'll explain all of that in the training. Every single signal within the Aurora system has a lot of strength to it. But there are some trader discretion. There's some trader discretion information that we're going to teach you that will keep you out of some trades that we find that there's a high frequency of them not working out. So we have a particular pattern, which I'm not going to get into right now, but there's a particular pattern that Kristen and I have identified, which we will teach, that says, hey, this is a valid signal. If you're just doing a blind interpretation of signals and you're taking every single signal, this particular presentation of the signal has a high probability of losing. I want to skip those trades. If I've got a system that can produce for me, wait a minute, did I change? Oh, I need to change that back. If I have a system that has a high probability of producing for me, you know, an average of $2,600 a day, that's an average of $2,600 a day. And if I could, you know, be somewhere around the 100-point mark, why wouldn't I want to skip a few trades if I have some experience rate that says, you know, this one might work out, but it has a higher degree of probability that it may not. So what we're doing here is we're stepping into a zone where Aurora is more of a system. It's a very, very easy to understand system. It's not overly complex. We're going to teach you all the details of the system, but in the first 2 weeks of January, it's really more of a preview and an overview of what it can accomplish for you. We will be doing that, Bob. Bob's asking, is there going to be an analysis on Aurora similar to the current AES 20? It's actually 2060 to determine similar profit loss targets that could be used. Yes, but as I showed you on the daily summary, the highest drawdown that we've had so far is 77 points. Highest drawdown we've had is 77 points. So I think it's 79, sorry. And so we're going to use that as a basis for making some decisions. And of course, you as an individual trader should make decisions based on what you are most comfortable with. But we're starting to see actually days, we don't have a lot of them yet, but I think we're going to see more of them develop. We're starting to see days where there's no drawdown at all, where, you know, the lowest drawdown we had was a positive $560 or a positive 440 or small numbers. So there will be days that we'll have drawdowns, and they're going to be losing days, but we don't have a lot of losing days. Here was I think this was our biggest losing day, $785 per contract. Here was a losing day at $60, but look at this. Before you hit that, earlier in the day, you were up over 100 points. So, you know, if your goal is greater than 100, well, then you might have given it all back and ended up the day down. Where's our other 285? Okay, so 285, that was a losing day. But before that, earlier in the day, you were you're up 160 points. So I'm just saying here that those two examples of losing days are days where you decided, and it's okay if you decide that, but you decided to keep trading even though you had what I consider to be a very strong and very healthy profit. Now, here's a day that we lost 785, okay? The highest profitability we had on that day was $200. I would have kept trading. And at some point you were down, as I said, $1,585, and you clawed it back and finished only down 785. But you know, that's a way to look at this. We've got tons of data, and you're going to understand this during the training. You may not understand all of this detail in the first 2 weeks, and I'm already anticipating that that might be a challenge for some of you. You're going to want to ask a lot of detailed questions in the first 2 weeks. We probably won't respond to all those detailed questions because our intention is not to train, not to teach the details in the first 2 weeks. It is to give you an opportunity to observe and interpret. And if you like what you see, then you can sign up for the training and sign up for a monthly subscription to Aurora.
Mark, Kevin's asking about setting up the trading platform for the particular trading pattern you like. So I think he's referring to alerts, indicators, things such as that.
Yeah, so during the training, Kevin will show you how to set up the alerts. We'll provide guidance in terms of how to set up your trading platform, your dome. If you're trading with Infinity like we do, we can provide some guidance. We have a particular recommendation about what the parameters are you should set on your dome, and then how to modify those depending on the signal that's presented to you and what the signal is, whether it's a PBA3, a fractal, PB13, etc. Yeah, we're going to walk you through how to manage your dome. David's asking, do the numbers that you're showing result from purely mechanical use of Aurora, excluding the trades, the trader's discretion you're describing? Yes. Yes, one of the disadvantages to tracking the way we track is that with very, very rare exception, David, we track every trade. Kristen and I may be talking about a trade and say, you know what, we're not going to take that trade. And then after the fact, we'll have a conversation. Oh, we're glad we didn't take the trade. We put it in the tracker. Or, geez, we should have taken that trade. But what we're trying to do here, David, one of my objectives is to present to you a non-emotional interpretation of how the system performs in the market. Any trader is going to apply their emotion to it. You know, I don't really think this is going to go higher, and I don't feel very good about this. Those are all emotions. They have no concrete data history in the market. You don't make a note generally, with rare exception perhaps, but I'm generally thinking that you're not making a note that I don't really like this. Okay, based on what? What do you see that you don't like? Well, all these things, right? There's no factual, finite interpretation of the market that you can take. So that's why we are trading a system and we are tracking the detail. There are rare exceptions where it is so obvious that we're not taking that trade that we would tell anybody not to take that trade. And I'll give you one example, and I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit. Let's say on the 930 bar, the market moves 150 points. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit. And your actual signal to get into the trade is on the 935 bar. I probably wouldn't take that trade because there's already been a 130-point move, and the likelihood that it's going to immediately continue to move becomes much less and less and less. And we're going to talk about those things. Those are all actually very good detail factors to understand when it comes to trading a system. So that's just one example. We generally record the trade, but in that example, if you're going to use a 20-point or 30-point stop, and we use both depending on the signal that we're trading, you could get stopped out of the trade just by a small retracement of that move. So Aurora is mechanical, like you described it, but it has a small element of, okay, but there's a practical side to being a trader and saying this would be probably borderline insanity to take this trade. So we knock some of those out.
And then I think you answered Kevin's question in terms of stop loss.
Right. We use different stop losses, Kevin, and we use different ways to adjust our stop. And a lot of that is based on the strategy within the system that you're taking, that you're trading, and also how long you've been in the trade, how much the trade has moved favorably or unfavorably for you. So that's all going to be a very, very important part of the detailed training that will come after the first 2 weeks of January. We're not going to spend a lot of time explaining all of the details in that. We want to formalize the training in the first 2 weeks of January just to help you get an overview. I think it's a pretty awesome system.
I like it.
But I'm kind of biased because we've been investing a lot of time. We've been investing a lot of time in it. I don't see any other questions out there. I'll be happy to answer them. Here's the Aurora system. Although the actual look and feel of it might be a little different once we get to the first 2 weeks of January. We're working on a couple of things in terms of presentation and the visuals here, but this is kind of the core of what we're doing right now. We've got a variety of indicators that you recognize. We've got some new indicators that you don't recognize. And, we're looking at a multi-time frame chart. We're typically using a 3, 5, and 10-minute chart. And what we're going to do is to teach you, when we get to the formalized instruction for Aurora, how to look at the multiple time frames and how to interpret them to validate or invalidate a signal. Kristen, what kind of words of wisdom do you have? I'm going to put you on the spot. What brilliance could you articulate here?
Trade the system.
That really is actually the best
Trade
advice.
the system.
Yeah.
You talked about the drawdowns, and I think everybody has had those anxieties if you had a 20-point stop out or two 20-point stop outs. We've seen that, but we've seen it always we see it come back. So trust the system.
Mm-hmm. So John is saying great information, really looking forward to January. Any update on the alert service for stock trading? We are actually working on that right now, John. It may not come out right at the beginning of January. It would be ideal if we could make that happen. As I mentioned, Erin is back as of this week, and she is working on some things related to potentially releasing an alert service. But the alert service is going to be geared around the Aurora signals. It's going to be geared around our watch list of stocks. We have Amazon, Tesla, SPX or SPY, whichever you like to trade. The Qs, which is the ETF that tracks the NASDAQ 100. We trade bookings, we trade Google, we trade Netflix and Shopify. There's some other stocks that we take a look at, but that's the core. And frankly, so far my experience is we don't need more than that. We just don't need more than that. Well, we had a big sell-off today. Had a big sell-off today. Amazon was Amazon was dropping like a rock today. So I'll show you an Amazon trade. I've showed you several of these before. We're on a 30-minute Amazon chart. This signal right here, which we call PBA, came on at 12 o'clock today, so at noon today. And this said we should buy a put. We should buy a put on Amazon. It's based on the 30-minute chart. At 12 o'clock, Amazon was trading at $3,536. Now, if you're trading a 50 delta option, an at-the-money option, if you're trading a 50 delta, that means that if Amazon were to move $10, that you would have roughly a $5 profit. Now, sometimes options don't play well with others, and sometimes they don't follow exactly what they're supposed to be doing. I think that was going on Monday. Amazon was moving. Amazon had moved $20, but it wasn't following the delta. That happens, right? But that aside, generally, if Amazon moves $10, the option price is going to move $5. So you need Amazon to move $10 for you to get $5 of profit. And each one option contract represents 100 shares. So $5 of profit is $500. $5 of profit per contract is $500 of total profit. So here we go. What happened today? And I have a goal. Just assume that I have a goal to be out of the trade before the end of the day. I don't want to hold overnight. It's all day trading. So let's see here. At 15:30, I'd probably take the trade off, at 3:30 if I wasn't out before then. So you're in the trade at noon, 35.36, and when the 3:30 bar opened, it was at 34.58. So let's see here. Kristen, can you do that math? 34, 30, 35, 36, 34.58. It's about 80 points. It's about 80 points, which means you have about $40 of profit using a at-the-money 50 delta. That's $4,000 of profit just simply taking that signal. Yesterday, there was a signal. Sorry, that is incorrect. That was today. Today, there was a signal to go long at 9:30. So stock was trading at 35.45. It got up to a high of 35.59, right? So almost 15 points. You might have $6 or $7 of profit on that trade. So depending on what your profit target is, you might have had $5, $6, $7 of profit on that. But if you don't have a profit target that is met, then you would be out of the trade when it reverses. So you would have been in the trade at 9:30 this morning to go long at 35.45, and you would have been out of the trade at 35.36. You would have about a $9 loss on the stock, which means you would have lost about $4.50 on the option. And then you've got $40 of potential profit if you just held it until the end of the day. So you made $36 on the two trades, $3,600 trading one contract. And you can just visually look at these, and you're going to see this the first 2 weeks of January. You're going to visually see these. We're going to be talking about them. As I said, we're not going to teach. We're just going to tell, and then we'll get into the teaching and helping you really understand it. Here, I could do this all day long. I could just keep going back and looking at when the signals came on and looking at what the price movement was. Here was 10 o'clock in the morning 2 days ago. Price moves up. You get out here, you might have had a small profit there, but you had a profit that you could lock in. Amazon pretty regularly, I mean, this is a big move right here, but Amazon pretty regularly provides an opportunity for $10 of profit. That means a $20 stock move, $10 of profit for $1,000. So if you like trading options, in addition to your more focused futures trading, maybe you can knock out 100 points on futures and take a trade here or there on a stock option and knock out another equivalent of 50 points. So not guaranteeing any of that, but you can just see how these how these are working out. Here's a trade that came out at 9:30 on the 26th, and it went up first 36.03. It actually went up 30 points, right? So, if your target is to grab $10 of profit, there's your $10 of profit, and then at 10 o'clock, you get another $10 of profit. So you get $20 of profit on 2 trades on that particular day. That's $2,000 trading one contract. One of the things we have not started doing yet, but we will once we get all this implemented in terms of an alert service, in terms of Aurora for trading NASDAQ 100 futures. But there's a lot of people that have been asking me about trading cryptocurrency. I don't trade crypto myself. I'm not the one to learn how to trade crypto from. There's lots of ways to learn that, although we'll figure that out, help you with it. But the Aurora system will provide an opportunity for you to see, well, when should you get into, some of the more well-known cryptos, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. Here's a Bitcoin trade, came on at 7 a.m. this morning. Bitcoin opened at 57,212, traded up to a high of 59,118. So that's a pretty significant move. We're going to help people understand who want to trade crypto that this system, the Aurora system, can help them know when to get in and when they should exit. I would have exited that trade right then when the long signal vanished and you've got nothing going on. So you wouldn't have hit the high, but you would have hit a pretty strong number there. And then you're back in at 1 o'clock today to go short and take some pretty healthy profits right there. I've got a friend who is really, I would say he's a guru of crypto trading. And we're going to be talking about maybe having him come on to our team and help with some of this, because there's just a huge opportunity. Bottom line is Aurora will give you an opportunity to take profits and find profitability on futures or options or crypto, or if you happen to just be a stock investor where you're looking for traditional philosophy of buy low, sell high. Well, you got to know when to buy and you got to know when you should sell. And Aurora can help you do that. All right, I'll give it just another minute. I don't see any other thoughts or questions out here, but we're pretty super excited. The last couple of weeks of December, look for an email announcement from us about signing up for the live training. Remember, there's no financial obligation. There's no commitment from you other than just sign up. You'll click on the link and register for the live trading room. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can come in and you can kind of watch us trade along for the 2 weeks. Marley's asking, will Aurora help with longer term stock buying like weekly and monthly charts? I have not looked at that myself, Mario, but I would say confidently the answer is yes. And I'm just going to put something out here. Hold on. Let's take a look at bookings. So maybe you like trading bookings. Wow, what a big sell-off in bookings. Holy wow, look at that gap down. Oh my gosh. Well, what I know from old style trading is we're probably going to head higher. This is an oops pattern. This is a huge oops pattern right here. And an oops pattern just simply means that 90% of the time, I think it's actually 92% of the time, the price will retrace back up to the low of the bar before the big drop. But like I said, I don't want to hold overnight. That's not my intention. But if you were an overnight holder, you could have been in this on the 24th of November at 12:30, at 23.17. That's what the stock is. Boom, boom, boom. And then on the 26th, it opened at 21.20. That's a 200-point move down. That's 100 points of potential profit on a 50 delta. Anyway, you got to know when to get in. So Mario's asking about weekly and daily charts. So let me look at a daily. Start with that. I think he actually might have said monthly, but let's start with a daily, Mario. So Aurora on a daily chart, and I'm looking at booking. Aurora on a daily chart told you to buy a call or buy the stock on August 24th. Never told you to get out until September 30th. September 30th. Now I'm giving you a real quick overview, but September 30th is when you get out. So you bought the stock at 21.50 and you're out of the stock at 23.82. That's a $230 move up. But before you hit that, you actually hit 25.40. And remember, you were in at 21.50. So you're up almost $400 on that stock, and playing the option, depending on what expiration you're using, you could continue to roll the option out, locking in profits and continue to play the move. Let's take a look at a weekly. So here's your Aurora signal. Here's your signal to go long on a weekly chart. Keep it, keep it, keep it. Might have about broken even on that, but before you got to that break even point where it's telling you on a weekly chart to get out, because this is November, week of November 9th, and this is the week of January 25th. I think I would have taken profit somewhere in there. 2049, it got up to a high of 2289, so 240 points of movement. And you can see how these signals line up, the short movements to buy a put or to sell your stock if you're only a stock investor. Short movements as it moves lower here. Here's a short movement. You actually should be short right now in a put on booking. Stock open at 2330. Today it closed at 2057. You're about 180 points down. So that's a huge opportunity. And then Mario, I think you asked me about monthly also. Monthly for my taste is probably a little too extended, but because each bar represents a single month. But if you're a buy and hold long-term investor, right? Here's booking that you would have bought on August 1st, right? So you're in the stock in August, and it went from 1353 up to a high of 2067. It's a 700 point move higher. So like I said, if you're a buy and hold investor, you would want to know, well, when should I take this off so that I can then wait and buy again on my traditional buy low, sell high philosophy. Okay. Jack is asking, will some of that 2 weeks be recorded? We're not recording the live trading room, Jack. This is an overview for everybody. We're not there to teach. We're there to demonstrate. So we're not planning on recording any of that.
We'll keep track in our tracker of it, but we won't record it and post a recording it.
Yeah, and at the end of our trading day, during those 2 weeks, we'll show you where we are in terms of the tracker, show you what's been accomplished.
I think everybody's getting pretty excited.
Well, I'm excited. It's hard to excite me, Kristen, but
me too.
Yeah, okay. If you don't know Kristen, she's the most upbeat, energetic person I've ever known in my life. You're like Tigger.
I try.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and close out the room. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your interest in Aurora. Like I said, the last couple of weeks of December sent out some fairly simple email is just saying, hey, listen, you know, you don't need to commit to anything. We're not asking you to buy anything. Just come and follow along with us. Last question goes to Kevin. I had mentioned in the last couple of Q&As that Krista and I have a fairly aggressive goal in terms of our personal trading plan, and we'd like to be able to achieve $1 million. Kevin's asking if think we're going to hit our $1 million goal. The personal trading plan, it will depend on how many contracts we want to trade. So if we're willing to trade 10 contracts, maximum of 10 contracts, why did that not change? Kristen, any? Huh.
Oh, there it went. It was
No,
just
I guess it
snow.
was just a delayed. So part of the answer to that, Kevin, well, first of all, I think yes, we will. It may not be in this particular quarter. It's not a calendar quarter that we started out with. It's from November 1st to the end of January. And I think we will hit the million in a quarter, but it may not be this quarter. One of the disadvantages for this particular contrived quarter is we've got, you know, we had the Thanksgiving holiday week, we've got Christmas holiday week, New Year's holiday week, and it's just kind of a different market animal usually in the holiday weeks. But it also depends on how many contracts we're willing to trade. If I used a maximum of 10 contracts, scaling up to 10 contracts, we won't hit the number. If I use a maximum of 15 contracts, I think I might have been in the wrong cell here. 15 contracts, we could potentially hit the number. I think what I'm focused more on is let's get Aurora launched to all of you, help you get on the right track, and then we'll take a look at that again. So there's no rush for that. It's kind of a fun goal to have, but we'll take a look at maybe a January through end of March. And again, Kevin, you know, I'm not committing to it, but it's something that would be kind of a fun goal to have. And if you just simply look at the personal trading plan as it's just a mathematical analysis. The system winning day average is 133 points. The system losing day average in our experience so far is 6.57 points. And if we assume 80% of the winning day average, that's 106.4 points. Why would we only assume 80%? Have you ever taken a trade and you go, oh my God, I had 2 points of slippage. I had 3 points of slippage. The market's moving so fast. Or have you ever stepped away or somebody came in and interrupted you and look back at your computer screen and go, oh my God, I missed that trade. Those are realities in trading. It's just a reality, okay? So we are trying to plan realistically, assuming 80% of the system winning day average. And at that rate, if we are willing to scale up to 15 contracts, and it will be an if because we need to feel like we're ready to do that, then yeah, we could potentially hit $1 million. But like I said, we might just kind of put that off. We've got a lot going on in terms of trying to get everything ready for Aurora to launch, possibly an alert service to launch, then the first 2 weeks of January, working with all you wonderful folks, then doing training in the last couple of weeks of January for those people who want to adopt Aurora as their own. So, you know, we'll be looking at that, but maybe not for this particular quarter. Michael's asking, what about money management for Aurora? What do you recommend as far as scaling up? 10,000 per contract, 20,000 per. So the scaling is all based on the personal trading plan, Michael. Whatever amount you want to start with, you can start with 10,000 like we did here. You start with 5,000. And then the other component is what percentage of your capital balance are you willing to allocate to margin on your contracts? So we usually use 10%. Because we were looking at a fairly aggressive growth, I'd lowered it to 5 so that we had a very conservative approach. But if you used a 10%, then it's going to naturally increment the number of contracts. So there's no formula that we use that's a fixed so many contracts per 10,000 or per 20,000. It really is an incremental growth based on 10% or whatever you choose to use of the balance. So if we're willing to allocate 10% of our capital to margin requirements, so we have $60,000 in the account, then $6,000 would be available to us, and that would be 12 contracts. So we could potentially be trading 12 contracts, but it's more mathematical than it is a tier approach, getting to 20,000 and then scaling up contracts. So Kevin's asking, can you roll back to when you started? We have all sorts of data, Kevin, and the data has continued to evolve to the point that we're at. And the data that we have right now for the last 43 trading days is the refinement of all of the testing and rules and validation. And as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, we were going back and we were updating our old data based on this new configuration that Kristen identified. And we went from an average of about $1,400 a day, which I thought was phenomenal, 70 points a day, to more like $2,600 a day. So yeah, I mean, we could scroll back multiple configurations of this tracking tool back to August of last year, but that doesn't serve any purpose, because in August, September, October of last year, the design of the Aurora system was not where it is today. Oh, on the personal trading plan, yeah, we started November 1st. I announced that when we reset this. So, this is what we've done since November 1st. Okay, that's officially it. Kristen, don't you have a yoga class to go to?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. Like, I gotta go.
You gotta go to yoga. Okay. All right. We're gonna close out of the room, folks. Sincerely appreciate all of you being here. Kristen, always appreciate what you do and how you do it and helping everybody around you. So look forward to working with each of you in the first couple of weeks of January. I look for our email coming out in the next, probably be in the last 2 weeks of December, so that you can sign up for the live trading room. And I would suggest that you sign up as soon as you get the email, because there is a space limitation in the live trading room. So don't put it on the back burner for a few days and miss out on the opportunity. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your night.